Live, local, and trusted. KNOP News 2 Morning Show starts now.
Good morning, I'm Victoria Kramer. Thank you for waking up with us. Here's what's happening on News 2. A local business held their grand reopening at their new location yesterday. And one local restaurant is giving back to firefighters affected by the fire. Plus, the UNL Extension and local businesses are making the effort to assist landowners affected by the Betty's Way fire. We have more, but first, let's check in with meteorologist Andre Brooks.
Well, I'm here to tell you, it looks like today we do have a small concern for some fires during our Friday, but here's the thing though, it's going to be a very warm day and we will see mainly sunny skies, so that is the good news. Now looking at the rest of the day, we're just going to continue to see those temperatures increase from the 20s and 30s early on into the 60s as we head into lunchtime, and once we get into our peak time heating, temperatures will then increase into the 70s with those mainly sunny conditions. Now as we head over into our current temperatures right now, our temperatures are mainly in the 20s and 30s, so it is a relatively mild to cool start to our day, with it being 28 degrees here in North Platte, and we have a mild 37 degrees there in Hyannis. And we are seeing those breezy winds already in portions of our viewing area, including here in Broken Bow at 12 miles per hour, here in town at 5, and we have 9 there in Hyannis. And these winds will continue to increase a little bit during the day today, and with the dry conditions that we've seen over the past several days, this is going to lead to some fire concerns during the day today, mainly for our northern tier counties, and this includes North Platte too, with a red flag warning in effect later on this afternoon into the evening. And make sure during the day today that you're not burning anything outdoors. Dispose those flammable objects properly. In the event of a fire, please call 911 immediately. Now, we are seeing our area of high pressure that's going to continue to bring us those overall quiet and calm conditions over the next few days, and it's going to allow for those temperatures to really go on up there. And our highs for today will mainly be in the 70s, which means our chill meter will be at a level 1. And as we get into tonight, temperatures will drop on down into the 30s and 20s, so it's going to be another wash, rinse, and repeat sort of night that we're seeing this morning. And as we head into our weekend, we will see those temperatures increase into the mid to upper 70s on Saturday with mainly sunny skies, and then we're going to start seeing the onset of our next cold front that's going to be pushing on through Sunday, and that's going to drop temperatures down into the 60s, but we will see those dry conditions during our Sunday. So Victoria, looks like this weekend isn't half bad.
It looks like it. Thank you, Andre. A local business held their grand reopening at their new location yesterday. Family and friends and members of the community gathered for the occasion. Those in attendance enjoyed snacks, a raffle, and discounts. Clear Focus Eye Care is not new to North Platte, but rather they decided to move to better serve the community.
Even though we're only about a block away, it feels like we're so much closer to everything. We're so much more closer to community, and then people can actually kind of see us. So many people would come and see us and be like, man, I didn't know you guys were here. And so I feel moving here has just allowed us to be more a part of the community and do more for the community.
Clear Focus Eye Care is open Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and on Fridays from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And as recovery efforts continue with the Betty's Way fire, one local restaurant is giving back to firefighters affected by the fire. Earlier yesterday, North 40 Chop House served free meals to firefighters and their families. General Manager Dan Magis says he felt the need to give back in this manner as a way to say thank you to first responders. Magis says they are planning on providing meals through Saturday. So far, they have fed about 100 people and expect to serve another 200 by Saturday. And a Lincoln County landmark is one step closer to officially having a new name after the passage of a legislative resolution in Washington. For more, we're joined by our own Tristan Winder.
The North Platte Federal Building, or as many of us Lincoln County residents likely remembered as the former North Platte Post Office, is one step closer to officially having a new name in honor of a Nebraskan. On Thursday, Nebraska U.S. Senator Pete Ricketts shared that his legislation to name the North Platte Federal Building after former Nebraska Congresswoman Virginia Smith had passed in the U.S. Senate. Congresswoman Smith was the first and thus far only woman from Nebraska to hold a seat in the House, serving Nebraska's 3rd Congressional District from 1975 to 1991.
And she really has a great Nebraska story. She went to the University of Nebraska, graduated in 1936. She was chair of the American Farm Bureau of Women. So just really a great contributor. Her first race was very close, as it often is in the 3rd district. But after that, I think she demonstrated that she was the person to represent Nebraska and just did a fantastic job for us in Washington, D.C., and especially for the 3rd Congressional District. Again, supporting the ag issues, which is, our state's #1 industry. That's huge for us.
Current 3rd Congressional District Congressman Adrian Smith has introduced companion legislation that awaits passage in the House. The measure has drawn support from fellow Nebraska congressional representatives Mike Flood and Don Bacon, as well as U.S. Senator Deb Fischer. In downtown North Platte, I'm Tristan Winder, KNOP News 2.
The UNL Extension and local businesses are making the effort to assist landowners affected by the Betty's Way fire. Many people have lost cattle, land, and fencing to the fire and are looking for aid from the community. UNL Extension says people right now need to take pictures of their cattle and fences so they can be approved by the Farm Services Agency. Even Farm Rescue is planning on helping bringing hay to those who need it, and Miller Supply is helping with fencing. Equitable Bank is also pitching in to help with donations.
We're going to have some counselors there because we know this is really rough on people. I mean, when you lose livestock, when you lose your house, all those things are really hard for people and very stressful, and hopefully we can help them with some of that stress.
The UNL Extension is hosting a meeting on March 12th to help fire victims. The meeting begins at 6:30 p.m. at the West Central Research Extension and Education Center. And at a United States Senate Agriculture Committee hearing this week, Nebraska U.S. Senator Deb Fischer questioned U.S. Secretary of Agriculture Tom Vilsack about the need to expedite producers' access to federal disaster relief and about ways to increase support for small independent processing facilities. Senator Fischer also referenced the disastrous Betty's Way fire. The ignited near North Platte Monday morning and burnt through a large amount of Lincoln County before spreading into Dawson County and finally being controlled in Custer County.
We had a fire this week in central Nebraska that burned over 70,000 acres. And I'm thankful that currently there aren't any reported injuries, but obviously when you have a significant number of acres like that and the time of year it's taking place, getting hay bales as well as pasture, it's going to be an issue. So as we learn of the damages, I appreciate your commitment to work with my office and Nebraskans to get the necessary disaster assistance to producers in a timely manner.
Now to the latest on school choice here in Nebraska. The Secretary of State says that referendum to let voters decide its future will in fact appear on the ballot. This comes after State Senator Lou Ann Linehan, who efforted the bill that was signed into law last year, said it should be removed, citing the state's constitution. Bob Evnen made the decision earlier yesterday, saying the referendum is, quote, legally sufficient. This, of course, all centers around LB 753, known as the Opportunity Scholarships Act. A petition drive last year from Support Our Schools was able to gather enough signatures to get in on the ballot. Serious deficiencies and tens of thousands of dollars of questionable billings. That's how State Auditor Mike Foley describes Medicaid fraud that's been going on for at least 10 years between some care providers and the DHHS.
Beyond the waste of taxpayer dollars, the real tragedies here is some very, very needy persons deserving of treatments and deserving of services were not receiving them because caregivers were fleecing the system.
He says the fraud stems from personal assistance programs, or PAS programs, for people who have disabilities or chronic conditions that rely on help around the house. Foley says certain providers giving that care billed DHHS for hours they couldn't have worked, some even out of town at the time. In all, he says based on the samples his audit team went through, the fraud could exceed $1.5 million. And it just got a little bit easier, at least financially, to become a veterinarian in Nebraska. Governor Jim Pillen announced yesterday a new scholarship in hopes of bumping numbers for production animal veterinarians in rural Nebraska. These are the scholarship details. There will be 25 scholarships for incoming freshmen starting this academic year. 50% of tuition will be covered for the first 2 years for an animal science or veterinary science degree. The people who get the scholarship will work in rural settings where a Bertrand vet says hiring has been a challenge for years.
The last 5 years, I've had an ad out for an associate and have received 2 applications. Neither of those applications were quite the right fit. The point is that my plight, trying to find an associate, is shared up and down the areas of rural Nebraska with other veterinarians.
Nebraska's livestock industry contributes more than $6 billion annually to the state's economy, and oftentimes a veterinarian's degree can help students out from pursuing the field. After the first 2 years, students can compete for one of 11 spots in the new Elite 11 program. They'll get a scholarship to cover the remaining 2 years and earn a spot in a professional program. Through state funding, they won't have to pay for their doctoral degree in veterinary medicine. And the Nebraska Secretary of State is sending out letters to voters who may not have the voter ID that is needed in the upcoming May election. The office shared that roughly 97% of Nebraskans who are registered to vote do have a voter ID, but around 35,000 letters will be sent out. If a voter does not have an acceptable form of ID to vote, they can get a free state ID from the Nebraska DMV and use that if needed. And as of January 1st this year, motorcycle riders over the age of 21 have the opportunity to ride their bikes without a helmet, but one local fire department is warning riders to still wear their helmets. The Grand Island Fire Department responded to 2 accidents over the weekend involving motorcycles. The common thread was both drivers weren't wearing head protection, but after the passage of LB 138 last year, that is completely legal. The law states riders over the age of 21 must complete a class, then take proof of that to their DMV, and then it's recorded electronically. After that, those riders don't have to wear a helmet, but Jared Stockwell with the Grand Island Fire Department says the numbers show helmets protect people.
Proper helmet use has been shown to reduce the risk of brain injury by 67% and the risk of death by 37%. And that's from the U.S. Department of Transportation. So the data shows that there's a benefit in wearing a helmet. And so we want to follow those recommendations for the best interests of people enjoying the road.
And when the new laws surrounding helmets took effect in January, Nebraska joined 33 other states in rolling back the mandates to one extent or another. Coming up, Israeli forces allegedly opened fire while civilians were gathering around food aid trucks. We have more, but first we're looking out now from North Platte Skycam. Your full forecast is next after the break.
You wouldn't pour OJ this way, and you don't have to pour paint this way either. Try Dutch Boy Platinum Plus paint in the twist and pour container with a built-in spout. Easy to hold, open, and pour. Only at Menards. Dutch Boy paints make transforming your world easy.
Want to see a magic trick? Taco John's is turning your dollar into mouth-watering favorites with the new BOGO for a $1 menu. Get a signature Taco John's item, then add another for just $1. Abracadabra, yeah! The new BOGO for a $1 menu, only at Taco John's.
Hash browns are the French fries of breakfast.
Who says it's not French fries that are the hash browns of lunch and dinner?
That's also true.
Buy a sausage burrito, sausage McMuffin, sausage biscuit, or sausage McGriddles, and choose another for $1. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Every crime scene has secrets. Did you have anything to do with Jennifer's disappearance?
Every victim has an untold story. He was an FBI agent.
And within every mystery lies the truth. This isn't a hardened criminal. This is a soccer mom.
And sometimes the truth hides where you least expect it. This was a murder. This wasn't any accident. This is, as they say, a game changer.
The original true crime series.
Dateline.
Weekdays on News 2.
Well, guess what? Anybody can feel down. But that's not the time to just put on a brave smile. It's the time to share your feelings with your friends, your parents, your favorite teacher. In the meantime, visit yourlifeyourvoice.org.
Download the KNOP News 2 app.
At At least 112 people were killed and hundreds more injured in Gaza Thursday after Israeli forces opened fire while civilians were gathering around food aid trucks. According to the Palestinian Ministry of Health in Gaza, Israel's military and witnesses have conflicting accounts of what exactly happened. CNN's Jen Sullivan has details on what both sides are saying happened and the start reaction from U.S. officials.
As dozens of hungry Palestinians desperately wait for food, chaos breaks out early Thursday morning.
It's become normal because we have reached a level of famine.
An Israel Defense Forces spokesperson says aid trucks delivering food were rushed by crowds, with trucks running over people. Then he says a group of Palestinians approached Israeli forces, who then opened fire.
You see the trucks moving and the people swarming the truckloads, stampeding, trying to take the goods and loot the goods off of the trucks.
But witnesses say it was the Israeli military opening fire on people near the trucks that caused the drivers to pull away in panic, accidentally ramming people in the crowd, causing further deaths and injuries. These are the graphic images of wounded people arriving at local hospitals for care. The incident drawing criticism from U.S. officials.
Far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed over the course of this conflict.
Some members of Congress are concerned President Joe Biden isn't taking a hard enough stance against Israeli actions in Gaza.
Despite the clarity surrounding Gaza's despair, the response from political leaders have been nothing short of callous inaction.
Since Hamas first attacked Israel in October, more than 30,000 people have been killed in Gaza, according to the Enclave's health ministry. I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
On Capitol Hill Thursday, the Senate passed a stopgap bill to avert a partial shutdown by the end of this week. Lawmakers voted 77-13 to extend government funding on a short-term basis. The new deadlines are now set for March 8th and March 22nd. The House okayed the bill earlier in the day. The measure now heads to President Joe Biden to be signed into law. Some government funding would have expired on Friday if lawmakers didn't pass the stopgap bill in time. And the United States is considering airdrops of aid into Gaza, according to two U.S. officials. It comes as the humanitarian crisis there deteriorates and critically needed assistance fails to reach the people in the war-torn Strip. According to the United Nations, more than 2 million people in Gaza are at imminent risk of famine. Earlier this week, Jordan, Egypt, and the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, and France airdropped relief aid on various areas in the Gaza Strip. Top U.S. officials have called on Israel to open additional passages to allow aid to enter Gaza. And an update this morning in the case of a Massachusetts Air National Guardsman charged with posting classified information to the internet. Jack Teixeira is expected to enter a guilty plea for illegally leaking military secrets. He worked in cyber systems for an intelligence wing of the Air National Guard. Prosecutors are asking the judge for a Rule 11 hearing, indicating Teixeira is likely willing to change his previous plea of not guilty. And the man seen on a viral video leaping over a bench to attack a judge pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. Deborah Redden faces multiple charges, including attempted murder, battery on a protected person, and extortion in the January incident in Las Vegas, Nevada. It happened when the judge sentencing the 30-year-old man for battery. He was later sentenced by that same judge to 19 months to 4 years in prison. Redden's attorney said the man did not have the right mental capacity at the time of the attack. And the beer will flow this weekend so long as it's made by Anheuser-Busch. The brewer and the Teamsters reached a tentative deal at the 11th hour Wednesday evening. About 5,000 union members were ready to strike at midnight. Drivers got an immediate $4 an hour raise and an $8 increase over the life of the contract. That's about a 23% increase on average. Workers also got $2,500 signing bonuses, increased vacation time, and restoration of retirement benefits. Plus, new numbers from Anheuser-Busch show just how bad the Bud Light boycott hit the company last year. The world's largest brewer likely lost more than $1 billion in sales. Despite record revenues for 2023, the company says its U.S. business was hurt by starting and ending its brief partnership with a transgender influencer. Organic revenue plunged $1.4 billion last year. Most of that was from a drop in Bud Light sales. Now let's get another look at our forecast. Andre, how is the weather looking today?
Well, we're going to be seeing very warm temperatures to start out our month of March, and we also will see a little bit of some fire concerns for our Friday. Now, looking at the rest of our morning, we're just going to continue to see those temperatures gradually increase from the 20s and 30s early on into the 30s and 40s once we get around 9 and 10 o'clock. And once we enter into lunchtime, temperatures will then increase into the 50s and 60s with those mainly sunny conditions. Now, as we head over into our current temperatures, our temperatures right now are mainly in the 20s and 30s, and we have 28 degrees here in North Platte, 32 in Thetford, and we have a warm 37 degrees there in Hyannis, and it's rather cool there in Ogallala at 23 degrees. And the winds right now, they are on the breezy side in a good bit of places, including here in Broken Bow at 12 miles per hour, and here in town at 5, and we have 9 in Hyannis. And these winds will continue to increase some during the rest of the day today. And with the dry conditions, this is posing the threat for some fire concerns, mainly along and north of Interstate 80, with a red flag warning in effect for those areas. So make sure that you're taking those safety fire precautions, and that includes no burning outdoors today, dispose of some objects properly, and again, in the event of a fire, please call 911. Now, we have our area of high pressure that's going to be giving us those breezy winds today, and also those warmer than average conditions too, and that is going to persist during the day on Friday and even into the weekend, and I'll show you that in just a second. But looking at the rest of the day, we will see those temperatures increase into the 60s and then into the 70s with mainly sunny skies and breezy winds, and then tonight temperatures will drop on down into the 40s and even into the 30s once we wake up into our Saturday. And for our weekend forecast, we will see those temperatures in the 70s with those mainly sunny conditions for Saturday, and then on Sunday temperatures will then decrease into the 60s with those mainly sunny conditions due to the onset of our next cold front. So Victoria, it looks like this weekend is going to be an overall A+ weekend.
Thank you, Andre. Coming up, the Justice Department is joining the investigation into Boeing over its door plug blowout. We have more, but first we want to know, what activity do you do to unplug from the rest of the world? Head to our Facebook page to answer, and we'll share what you have to say later on in the show. New this morning, the Justice Department is joining the investigation into Boeing over its door plug blowout. The agency is looking into whether the incident is a violation of settlement with Boeing over 2 deadly crashes of the 737 MAX 5 years ago. Boeing agreed to the $2.5 billion settlement with the DOJ in 2021. Under the deal, Boeing avoided prosecution for misrepresenting characteristics of the 737 MAX while the FAA reviewed the plane for certification. And the Department of Transportation has proposed steep fines for airlines that damage passengers' wheelchairs. Under the proposal, they would have to pay up to $124,000 and require enhanced employee training. Also, passengers would immediately be notified when something happens to their wheelchair, be given a loaner, and get to choose how their chair is repaired. The government says airlines damage or lose about 11,000 passenger wheelchairs annually. Now let's go to Andre for a check of the weather. He has your photo Friday.
Well, thank you so much, Victoria. And this week has been all about the fire that went on in the northeastern portion of North Platte. And I'm here to tell you, Ronald showed us this visual representation of it. I mean, look at how high that smoke was getting. I mean, this is quite some intense stuff here. And it even created a little bit of a cloud here, and this is just one of those things that happens in fire sometimes, and this is just quite a phenomenal structure. And here's another perspective of that fire, and just look how tall the clouds are, folks, and even the colors are quite intense too. So thank you, Ronald, for giving us this representation of what happened earlier this week. And if you want to submit your photos for Photo Fridays, please submit it through our website here or through our mobile app, and just go to the upload photos and video sections on each platform. Back to you, Victoria.
Thank you, Andre. A driver was very lucky to walk away after police say a distraction caused them to send their car sailing off a cliff, and the whole thing was caught on camera. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
Take a look at shocking dashcam video capturing the moment a distracted driver sailed off the edge of a roadside cliff in Oregon. State police released the video saying the driver apparently took their eyes off the road before flying off the cliff and plunging 200 feet down an embankment. Amazingly, police say the driver was able to get out of the twisted wreckage on their own before being hoisted by emergency responders back up the hill to safety. Here's some crazy caught-on-cam video captured in Texas after a herd of goats got loose and then got moving.
Go, goats, go!
You know, I feel like this story deserves the old punometer, don't you? I know what you're thinking. You've got to be kidding me. Okay, here we go. After the herd, which was hired to clear weeds, went on the lam, Arlington police responded and weren't sheepish, instead taking the bull by the horns and rounding up the roving sillybillies without further incident. They didn't even have to use their battering ram. You heard it here first. 5, 6, 7, 7 puns. Not bad. That counts too, by the way. Finally, from one big moving stink to one stinky-stemmed star that's worthy of a whiff. That's according to the California Academy of Sciences, who say for the first time ever they have a rare blooming corpse flower stinking up the joint. These exotic rainforest plants can grow to 7 feet tall at the peak of their reek. They bloom only once every few years, but when they do, it's fast and it's funky.
People say garlic, sweaty feet, rotten flesh. I actually kind of thought it smelled a little bit like a porta potty, like a collection of scents.
Who's hungry? For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
What?
Welcome back. The cost of experiencing It's a Small World is going up, according to ticket prices for 2025. Among the increases, going to Disney's Animal Kingdom will be $119 next year, a $10 jump. Higher prices are also in store for the other parks, including a $5 hike at the Magic Kingdom. There's also a $5 to $10 rise in many of the park hopper options, which allows visitors to go from one theme park to another on the same day. And Macy's says it will close 150 stores nationwide in a move that is part of the retailer's A Bold New Chapter initiative, which aims to put a greater focus on luxury sales. In a news release Tuesday, Macy's said it is shuttering unproductive locations, including approximately 50 by the end of the fiscal year. The closures will leave approximately 350 locations, including small format stores, still in operation. The locations of the 150 closures were not immediately available, and a Macy's spokesperson did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Now it's time to check in with Andre. He has your drought digest of the week.
Well, thank you so much, Victoria. Meteorologist Andre Brooks here with your drought digest of the week. So let's not waste any more time here and let's dive in our current drought monitor, shall we? Looking here across greater Nebraska, we are still seeing a little bit of abnormally dry conditions here near the Imperial and Curtis area, but here in the northern tier counties looking pretty good, along with there in the Panhandle. But once we get into the eastern side of the state, we're going to be seeing those moderate to severe drought categories still remaining around here. And looking at our drought categories in particular, it looks like we have really seen things remain on the status quo all across the entire state, and including with no drought at all, still remaining around 65.67%. And as far as the exceptional drought and the severe drought, at 0%, which it needs to stay right there. Now, looking at the next 6 to 10 days, it looks like we're going to continue to see that drought relief here across the entire state of Nebraska, which is going to be really good news, especially with these fire conditions that we've been seeing. And over the next 8 to 14 days, even more relief here for the Good Life State, and that's going to be really good for the farmers and gardeners too. So, Victoria, it looks like we're going to continue to see this drought continue to inch away.
Thank you, Andre. An analysis from the National Association of Realtors found the U.S. housing market is short more than 300,000 affordable homes for middle-income buyers. In this Watching Your Wallet consumer investigator, Chris Jackman spoke with 2 experts who are working on ways to solve the shortage problem and have tips on what you can do to find an affordable home.
Fernando Rodan sees all the time how hard it can be to find an affordable place to live.
We own a home back in Connecticut, but yeah, that was many, many years ago. It was a little easier, but people are being priced out. Interest rates are high, home values are way up. Young people are having a hard time buying right now.
He attends school here at Georgetown Law in Washington, D.C., and remembers when his son, who also went to school in the city, had a difficult time finding a decent place.
He went to Howard Law School himself, and he had to take an apartment in Hyattsville, Maryland, because the rents were a little cheaper there and more affordable.
It's not just the Northeast. The shortage of affordable housing is being felt across the nation.
How bad is the shortage when it comes to affordable housing right now?
There's simply not enough homes to house the growing population in America. And consequently, we are seeing significant rise in rents over the past 3 years. So one sees the red.
Lawrence Yun, chief economist with the National Association of Realtors, studies housing trends.
There's been underproduction for almost a decade. From 2010 to 2020, right before COVID, we estimated that there's roughly 5 million, 6 million housing unit deficit in relation to the job creation that occurred in the country.
It's something Tony Bertoldi, co-president of CREA LLC, an affordable housing investment company, says he's noticed as well.
When you think about all the jobs that are available and the jobs that we need people to work in and the jobs that people have as they move up in their career, or if they might be in school or it might be just out of school, if they're earning minimum wage, they can't afford a market rate apartment in that market.
The National Association of Realtors came up with this map showing which areas in the country have the largest housing shortages.
This is a very interesting map. How do you think this will really help consumers?
Well, from consumers' perspective, it's all about expectations. So one is living in, say, Seattle region, expect rise in rent. But also it's an important metric for policymakers. For the policymaker, this is saying, look, one may have to provide some government funding, view housing shortage as an infrastructure. We need to build more housing to relieve the shortage, or even provide some tax credit or even rental subsidy for the local residents, because they understand housing costs is very expensive in those red color areas.
Bertoldi says he'd like to see Congress act.
As it turns out, right now in D.C., there is a tax bill that is being proposed and drafted that would increase the amount of affordable housing production. It is estimated that if this tax bill passes, there will be an additional 200,000 affordable homes that could be built from the proceeds of this tax bill.
As for renters and prospective homeowners, experts recommend contacting your local housing authority for assistance, as well as nonprofits that deal in the housing market. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Carice Jackman.
Coming up, the term roadside delivery has a whole new meaning for one Kansas family. We'll be right back with more after this.
You did.
Welcome back. Here's a live lookout from the North Platte Skycam. Your full weather forecast is coming up shortly. The term roadside delivery has a whole new meaning for one Kansas family. The Miami County Sheriff's Office says its deputies responded to a medical call on a highway ramp early Tuesday morning. When the deputies arrived, they found a father who had just delivered his baby in the front seat of the vehicle. Deputies helped the parents use medical equipment until EMS and fire crews arrived. Both mom and baby are doing well. And Dr. Seuss Enterprises is celebrating its 120th anniversary by gifting a book to every baby born on March 2nd. The company is honoring Arthur Theodore Geisel with a read today for their tomorrow pledge, which they hope will encourage children to read. Families with children born in the U.S. on March 2nd can now receive a free personalized copy of The Cat in the Hat. They'll have to sign up online. American writer and illustrator Geisel wrote roughly 60 classic books under the pen name Dr. Seuss, including Green Eggs and Ham and Oh, the Places You'll Go. Now let's check in on the weather with Andre. He has your bus stop and breakfast forecast.
Well, speaking of reading, we are getting primed up for our school day, ladies and gentlemen. And looking at our bus stop forecast, we're going to be seeing those temperatures in the 20s and 30s with those mainly crystal clear conditions. So a light jacket would be preferred, kids, this morning. And once we get home from school, kids, I'm here to tell you it's going to be a free fall outside because temperatures will increase into the 70s and we will see those mainly sunny conditions. So get your friends after school and just hang out outside and have a good time. Now, before we get to school, we got to check out our breakfast forecast. We're going to be seeing temperatures in the 20s and 30s with those mainly crystal clear conditions. So it looks like it's going to be a relatively cool to mild breakfast this morning. And looking at our current temperatures right now, our temperatures are mainly in the 20s and the 30s, and we have 28 degrees here in North Platte, 34 in Thetford, and we have 37 degrees there in Hyannis. Now, our winds are on the breezy side this morning, around 5 to 15 miles per hour in most locations, exception there in Imperial at relatively calm conditions. But with these breezy winds and the dry conditions, this is going to allow for some fire concerns to be a vital role for our forecast today, mainly along and north of Interstate 80, and that is meaning that we're going to be seeing a red flag warning in effect until this evening. So make sure that you are not burning anything outdoors, dispose of flammable objects accordingly, and also in the event of fire, please call 911. High pressure is in store for us today and into majority of our weekend, so we're just going to continue to see those spring-like conditions around here. And if you are planning to go out of town this weekend, it looks like Lincoln, we're going to be seeing temperatures in the upper 60s with mainly sunny conditions, and that trend is going to continue into Omaha, but as in Kansas City, temperatures will be slightly lower into the low 60s, but back in Denver, upper 60s will prevail, and we will see those mainly sunny conditions still around, so it looks like it's going to be a very good time to get on the road here across the central U.S. Now, looking at the rest of the day, we will continue to see those temperatures going up into the 60s and the 70s with mainly sunny skies and those breezy winds, but tonight, temperatures will drop on down into the 50s and 40s and then into the 30s once we get into our Saturday morning. And once we get into Saturday itself, temperatures will then increase into the mid to upper 70s with mainly sunny skies. So some records could potentially be broken on Saturday. So we're going to be watching that very carefully. And on Sunday, temperatures will drop down into the 60s with mainly sunny conditions due to the onset of our next cold front that's going to be pushing on through Sunday night to Monday. And we'll be right back after the break with the question of the day and so much more.
Welcome back. Let's get to our question of the day. What activity do you do to unplug from the rest of the world? Here's what you said.
Scott said hiking and camping. Man, that sounds like a really relaxing time.
Mary Jane said she reads books,
which is also soothing too. And Leanne said listen to good music. Yes, that's a really good one as well. What about you, Victoria?
You know, I'd have to say if I want to just unplug, probably reading, honestly, as well. I don't know if listening to music would count as unplugged, but I would do that too.
Yeah, you know, it just, takes you out of, the world that we're in and just, has you just to, focus on what's important, and that's your mental health, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I would have to say take social media breaks, which I'm taking one right now, which is really good, and also I, like I said, watch me some good movies and stuff too.
Yeah. Those are all good things.
Yes, indeed.
Now for our must-see video of the day, Wednesday marked National Pancake Day.
And check out this unique rental home in the pancake capital of the South. The Eggo House of Pancakes in Gatlinburg, Tennessee is shaped like a short stack of flapjacks, complete with a stick of butter, shaped chimney, and breakfast-inspired decor. And of course, there is a freezer full of flapjacks in every flavor, along with a fountain of maple syrup. It's a true pancake paradise, and the best part, you stay could be free. Man, could you imagine, Victoria?
I think that would be a pretty nice place to stay with all of the endless pancakes that you can eat.
Yeah, but make sure you don't eat the walls or those pillars there like at Gingerbread House.
Yeah, I suppose not everything would be made out of pancake, but
right.
It'd be cool if it did.
Yeah, sure would.
Now let's get to our birthday club. If you were born on March 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, then a very happy birthday to you.
No birthdays for Friday, but on Saturday, we'd like to wish happy birthday to Valerie Anderson and Matt Moslov. Your birthday message says, happy 6th birthday, Mike Moslov. Love your family.
And on Sunday, we want to wish a happy birthday to Brianna Day Wolf. Have a happy birthday. Hope you have a great day. Love your mama, Flo, and siblings. Be sure to send us your birthdays or anniversaries to ksnblocal4.com. Just be sure to send them a few days in advance so we can get them on the air. Now let's take another quick look at today's weather.
Well, I'm here to tell you we will see those fire concerns during the day today, but really warm temperatures. But we are starting our morning out with those mainly crystal clear conditions with temperatures in the 20s and the 30s. And we're seeing those breezy winds at this time too, around 5 to 15 miles per hour. And these winds will play a vital role in those fire concerns with a red flag warning in effect this afternoon into the early evening hours. And we will see a peaceful weekend ahead with temperatures in the 60s and 70s with mainly sunny skies.
Thank you, Andre. More news and weather is next when News 2 returns, but first, here are your community events. Hollywood is unleashing some very big movies in theaters in March. Rick Damigella has a preview as movies spring back to life this month.
Your blood comes from dukes and great houses. Here, we're equal. What we do for the benefit of all.
Denis Villeneuve's sci-fi saga continues in Dune Part 2, adapted from the Frank Herbert novel. The sandworms of Arrakis emerge Friday, March 1st.
What is this place?
The best crooks and criminals live here.
You're a wanted criminal?
You sound surprised. Is it surprising?
The Dragon Warrior is back in Kung Fu Panda 4 as Poe and his team take on a shape-shifting sorceress. The animated adventure arrives in theaters March 8th.
An extraordinary story about a young man who many years ago visited Prague. What he found there were thousands of refugees at the mercy of Hitler's imminent invasion.
Sir Anthony Hopkins portrays Nicholas Winton in One Life. Based on the true story of the Kindertransport during World War II, the film opens in limited release March 15th. When New York City freezes over in July, who you gonna call? The paranormal investigators and eliminators are ready to believe you when Ghostbusters Frozen Empire chills theaters March 22nd.
Kong, Godzilla, they can feel it too. Something is coming. Something even they're afraid of.
From a frozen empire to a new empire, March ends with a roar. Two absolutely huge movie stars team up to take on a new rival in Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire. The kaiju invade theaters March 29th. Thankful for reserved seating in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
And a final check of weather and announcement is next after the break. And now for a final check on today's weather.
Well, we're starting our morning out with those cool and clear conditions, and those winds are on the breezy side out of the south at 5 miles per hour. And looking at our current temperatures, our temperatures are mainly in the 20s and the 30s at this time, and with it being 28 degrees here in town, and our winds are on the breezy side around 5 to 15 miles per hour, and that's going to lead to some concerns for some fire concerns during the day today with a red flag warning in effect for our northern tier counties. So make sure that you do not burn anything outdoors. Also, you dispose of those flammable objects properly. In the event of a fire, also please call 911. And our highs for today will mainly be in the 70s, so it's going to be a relatively warm day. And looking at our weekend forecast, we will see those temperatures increase into the mid to upper 70s with mainly sunny conditions. And as we head into our Sunday, temperatures will drop on down into the 60s with mainly sunny conditions. So Victoria, it looks like it's going to be a beautiful weekend.
Well, it sounds great to me. Thank you, Andre. And we have an exciting announcement to make, and to do that, I'm going to hand it over to our team at our sister station, Local 4.
Hey News 2 viewers, it's great to see you all again. I'm Ian Mason.
I'm Alyssa Harrington.
And I'm Travis Kleneski.
Starting on Monday, we will be joining you with a new partnership to entertain and inform you. It's called Local 4 on News 2.
Every morning, we'll bring you the top news and weather happening in North Platte, central Nebraska, and all around the state.
Newscasts will start at 5 a.m. and run through 7 a.m., so you'll get an extra full hour of news, weather, and fun. We can't wait for you to join our Local 4 News 2 family. We'll see you right here Monday through Friday. So yeah, this is going to be very exciting. People can expect, all of the local news and weather here, as well as we've got Birthday Club and Facebook Talker. So lots of fun stuff.
Absolutely. It's going to be very local. We care about Nebraska, and we want to make sure that you guys get that news.
All right, so hope you're all joining us starting Monday morning at 5 a.m.
See you then.
And we are really excited here at News 2 because we will get to spend more time getting local content and sharing that with you. The Local 4 team will be adding North Platte news to every morning show, so you won't be losing any local content, and it's a great way to combine our strengths. We can't wait to see what the future brings. And don't worry, Andre and I won't be going anywhere. You can still catch Andre's forecasts every weekday during our midday show, and I will also be anchoring the midday and co-anchoring with Kent Winder during the 6 o'clock evening show. So we will both see. We're very excited to see you then. And
we're really excited. And, and also as a note, I'm also going to be doing some news stories too. So you're going to be seeing me a little bit more in town, covering what's important and what the community wants to hear. So it's going to be a really good time. This is going to be a new chapter here at News 2, and I cannot wait for it. Can't you wait for it neither?
I really can't. I'm excited to see you reporting as well as mine. So thank you so much for watching News 2 this morning, and have a great day.
And a great weekend.